Most people think entering the trance mediumship state means sitting in the dark and suddenly speaking in a completely different voice. If only it worked that neatly. The truth is, it usually starts in a much quieter, less glamorous way, with you wondering whether that faint impression was spirit, your own nervous system, or simply your mind filling the silence. So, in this video, I want to talk you through the real process. How to settle the mind, how to stop grabbing at every little sensation, how to read what your body is telling you, and how to know when the whole room, not just you, is shifting, because trance doesn't begin with a performance. It begins with a change of atmosphere. So, we can stop chasing the weird stuff now. And the first thing that trips people up is the hunt for phenomena. You sit down, close your eyes, and immediately start scanning for something unusual. A tingle, a temperature drop, a word you didn't expect, and the moment something small arrives, the mind pounces on it. That habit gets in fast, and it gets in the way. Trance doesn't begin with a dramatic event. It begins with a shift in atmosphere. The room might feel slightly thicker. Your breathing can slow before you even notice why. A hush can settle over the group that feels different from ordinary quiet. Because ordinary quiet still feels busy underneath. Now, this kind of quiet feels occupied. That's where beginners most often miss it. The mind keeps waiting for something louder. So when contact first arrives as a deepening stillness, a subtle pressure, a shift in the emotional tone of the room, the mind just walks right over it. The first step isn't speaking for spirit at all. It's becoming aware of what spirit feels like before language even tries to form. So we need to train the mind to loosen its grip. What keeps interrupting the contact the moment it starts? Well, most of the time, it isn't spirit pulling away. It's your own running commentary. The mind wants a job. It wants to check what's happening, compare it to last time, and decide whether you're doing it right. Trance asks for something more awkward than that. It asks for surrender, but not to sleep. The goal isn't to crush every thought or force yourself blank. Trying too hard to empty the mind usually creates another kind of tension. You can feel it in the brow, in the throat, in the belly. The better move is simpler. Let the mind settle enough that it stops rewriting each impression on arrival. Instead of manager, it becomes witness. And that's a small shift in words, but in practice, it changes the whole sitting. Think of yourself as a clear pipe, not a commentator, not a clever translator with a red pen in hand, just a clear pipe, rather like the hollow bone that lets something pass through with less drag on it. When a medium stays in translator mode, every impression gets filtered through taste, fear, memory, performance, before it actually reaches the room. The messages come out thin because it's already been handled too much. So we need to build the conditions before we sit. Trance actually begins before trance. It starts before any altered voice or change in breathing. It starts with intention, with the room, and with the people you're sitting with. A trance circle needs dedication, commitment, and absolute clarity about its purpose from the very beginning. If the group is there to help one medium develop deeper trance, then everyone in that room has to genuinely back that aim. You can feel the difference between a settled room and a scattered one the moment you walk in. In a settled room, people arrive on time and lower their voice without being told. The air is calmer because attention isn't leaking everywhere. In a scattered room, late arrivals bring outside weather with them. Someone's telling a story, someone else wants to sit in a different spot tonight. Before the circle even opens, the energy has already split 10 ways. Structure isn't there to make trance rigid. It's there to protect the medium's receptivity. A medium entering altered states shouldn't also have to monitor whether the room is safe, whether the sitting has a clear end time, or whether someone might press for a personal reading halfway through. Those unresolved questions keep part of the system braced and watchful. And when part of the system stays on guard, the surrender never goes very deep. So we can actually read the body without panicking. And the part that throws nearly every beginner is this. Your body starts changing, and your first response isn't trust. It's fear. Notice your breathing shift. Your arms grow heavy, your face slacken in a way you didn't choose. And the mind rushes in with, "What's that? Am I okay? Should I stop?" Trance reaches the body very quickly, sometimes before any clear impression arrives. Breathing can slow or deepen. Posture can change without your usual effort. The jaw may loosen. Temperature can shift. A sudden coolness in the hands, a wave of warmth through the chest. That can happen too. None of that automatically proves spirit contact, but all of it belongs in the field of trance development, because the body often registers presence before the thinking mind can explain it. Calmer way to work is to become aware of bodily change without turning every sensation into a big event. Bring your attention to what changed, where it changed, and whether it carries a settled quality or a scrambled one. Think of the body as an instrument being tuned, not attacked. Once fear eases, those physical shifts become much easier to read, and spirit tends to find the body more easily when the medium isn't yanking the instrument out of tune every time it starts to respond. Also, notice when the whole room changes. Now, sometimes the clearest sign that trance is building isn't inside your chest or your head at all. It's in the room around you. One sitter feels pressure in the forehead, another goes cold in the hands. Someone else becomes aware of a stillness that doesn't feel ordinary. Then emotion moves through the group. A softness, maybe tears, maybe a strange sense of closeness that doesn't belong to any one person. Private imagination can feel convincing in the moment. The inner world can produce images and words all day long, but shared perception is harder to brush off. When several people become aware of the same stillness, the same heaviness, the same shift in emotional tone before any message arrives. You're dealing with something that reaches beyond one person trying to interpret their own thoughts. So before you judge the words, before you decide whether the phrasing sounded elevated enough, ask, what shifted in the room first? Was it the atmosphere feeling denser? Were the group dropping into stillness together? Did emotion move across people before any content landed? Those are far better questions than whether you heard something dramatic in your head. And I would say document everything. If you don't record your sittings, you're working with memory, and memory is unreliable in altered states. A voice recorder is one of the most practical tools you can have. It catches what your conscious mind might miss entirely. A whisper under the breath, a changing cadence, a pattern of syllables that didn't seem like much in the moment, but sounds far more organized on playback. Pair that with a journal. Write down how the room felt when you arrived. Note the time your body changed. Mark when the silence deepened, when the cold came in, when a sitter reacted. Those details may look ordinary on paper, but across several sittings they begin to show patterns you'd never trust from memory alone. You wouldn't see them otherwise. And if automatic writing or drawing arrives more naturally than speech on some evenings, just let it. Give the contact more than one route into form. There are mistakes that block the flow, and most of what blocks good trance isn't a missing gift. It's a handful of repeating habits. You want the sitting to deepen, so you push your breath lower than it wants to go. Hold the body too still, and try to drag yourself inward. All while telling yourself you're being disciplined. But trance doesn't open through strain. If the jaw locks, the shoulders brace, and the belly hardens, you've built resistance and called it effort. Performance is the second one. The voice changes slightly, and suddenly part of you is leaning into the drama of it. You become aware of how you look from the outside. Once that happens, ego climbs right back into the chair. Chasing proof does similar damage. Your attention keeps leaving the field of contact and running after phenomena, which means you're not present enough for the contact of form. Sitting while emotionally flooded causes trouble too. Raw emotion can take up so much inner space that clean contact has nowhere to settle. And one mistake that surprises people: over-talking straight after the sitting ends. Silence right after contact can teach you more than 10 minutes of excited discussion. Let the impression stay clean before you start interpreting it. And we can see trance as a service, not a performance. Here is the question that matters most. Are you trying to produce an experience? Or are you letting yourself be used for one? If you're trying to produce trance, you stay busy managing effects and hoping the room notices something unusual. But if you're letting yourself be used, the job gets simpler and harder at the same time. Simpler because you stop performing. Harder because your personality doesn't get to sit at the center of the work. A demonstration of trance is never about what's said. It's never about the phenomena. It's about the power, the presence, and the creative flow of the divine. There is nothing to compare it to. The most useful thing in the room may be the quality of spirit entering it, not the outer shape that quality takes. Did someone's fear ease? Did the room settle? Did a piece of healing move through even if the words were plain? Your role as a medium is closer to that of the intender, the person who prepares, consents, steadies, and allows the conditions where that divine creative force may come through as healing, wisdom, or expression. You don't manufacture the healing force, and you don't own it because it moved through your body. Your job is to carry it cleanly. The cleanest trance usually starts when you stop trying to sound spiritual and simply become aware of everything at once. Presence, body, room, and intention. That's when contact tends to settle. Sometimes the air feels charged. Sometimes the room drops cold and your body notices before your mind catches up. So, test this in your next sitting. Record it. Journal the atmosphere right after. Bring your attention to what changed before any words arrived, because that first shift tells you more than any polished speech ever will. If the message grows smarter when you edit less, will you actually let it speak? Thank you for joining me today. I'm Helen DeVita, and if you have enjoyed this video, I would very much appreciate a comment, a thumbs up, and subscribe. You can also now join my inner circle, which is a community on Skool. I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you for being here. God bless.